Welcome back, guys, to the unconditional podcast. Today's a reality check. I'm going to be alone. Okay, so guys, I didn't want to start off with this, but just while driving here to the studio, I thought about it, and it's about family. Family is number one. Health is number one. And I just realized that if all your family members are healthy, if all your family members are happy, if they're living a life that they're proud of, and on top of everything, if they're healthy, if everyone you love is healthy, if you wake up in the morning and everyone you love, everyone who's part of your family is healthy, is happy, is in a good place, is living a beautiful life, you're beyond blessed. If I'm being honest, family is really, really important, guys. We all have friends, but you know how they say blood is thicker than water, which I agree to a certain extent. Of course, family, you can have friends, and like they say, friends are the family members you choose. But in general, family members can never do you and will never do you as dirty as a friend potentially could. So that's the difference between family members and friends. So like I said, if everyone you love is healthy, if you woke up this morning and everyone in your family members, all your family members are healthy, everyone you love is healthy, it's a blessed day. Now, coming back to what I said regarding if blood is thicker than water. So yes, to a certain extent. So what I mean is family in general should always be priority over your friends and whatever. But sometimes if there's a certain family member in your family that is toxic towards you, is not good for you, isn't bringing any value to your life, and is only bringing you down, your soul down, is only bringing you as a human being down, isn't bringing any value, then it's okay to cut off a family member. I understand that remains your blood, but at the end of the day, you have to think about yourself. You have to provide for yourself, and you have to put yourself first. Of course, if you don't have kids. If you have kids, then you always put your kids first. But if you don't have kids, you always have to put yourself first. So I understand if you have a cousin, he's blood related, but maybe he's not the best guy. Maybe he doesn't wish you the best. Maybe he doesn't treat you well. Maybe he's constantly bringing you down and bashing you, and he's not bringing any sort of value into your life, and he's only bringing negative energy in your life. If that's the case, there's nothing wrong with cutting off a family member. We even suggested all the biggest thinkers, all the biggest philosophers, all the biggest educators, all the biggest psychologists, they all say that even if a family member is toxic, even if that's your dad, even if that's your mom, your brother, your cousin, your stepsister, whoever, if he or she brings more cons than pros in your life, you need to cut him or her off. That's a fact of life. I understand that even though blood is thicker than water, not always. That's always the case. Just because that's a family member doesn't mean you have to tolerate a lot, and doesn't mean that you have to tolerate anything and everything coming from that person. Still have boundaries. Maybe because that's your family member, so maybe you can tolerate a bit more. Like, let's say I'm gonna tolerate more from Luca, my brother, than from one of my friends. Normal. Why? That's my fucking brother. And that's just simply one of my friends. So I'm going to tolerate way more from Luca than from one of my friends. Now, of course, even amongst my friends, there are some friends which I'm going to tolerate more than others. If a certain friend is like my best friend since I'm 12 years old, and then he's still my best friend to this day at 25, and then I take someone else who isn't my best friend, he's just like a friend, I'm going to tolerate more from my best friend than from someone who's simply my friend. That's normal. So of course, like, depending on the value that person brings in your life and the importance that person plays a role in your life, you're going to tolerate more from that person, which is normal. Same goes for the other person. If you play a bigger role in her life or in his or her life, he or she's going to tolerate more from you, which is just normal. That's normal. Like I said, I'm going to tolerate way more from my brother. I'm going to tolerate way more from my dad, my mom, my cousin, whatever, than from simply a friend. Now, of course, even though that's my brother, even though that's my dad, even though that's my mom, there's still going to be a certain boundary, a certain line that if they cross multiple times, maybe not simply once, because, me being a Christian, Jesus Christ was all about forgiveness. Christianity is all about forgiveness. So, of course, in my heart, there is place for forgiveness, especially if it's a family member, like my brother or like my dad or my mom or whoever. So, of course, there's always going to be place for forgiveness in my heart. But if he or she passes a certain line, a certain boundary multiple times, and he or she isn't showing any sign of wanting to change, of wanting to become a better person, and of not wanting to repeat constantly what that person is doing towards me, which I don't like and which I don't appreciate. And it is what it is. So even though it's my family member, if he or she crosses a certain boundary or a certain line multiple times and isn't showing any signs of wanting to change, I'm cutting that person off. Even though I know it can be hard to cut off a certain person, especially if it's a family member, it can be really fucking hard to cut off someone. But at the end of the day, you have to put yourself first. You are your number one priority. You and your dreams, you and your life, you and your ambitions. And then later on, when you get a wife, when you have kids, then you also have to provide for your kids and for your wife, which is just normal. But no matter who that person is, you have to have certain boundaries and certain lines that he or she should not cross. And even though if she crosses it once or twice, he or she, there should be place in your heart for forgiveness. No human being is perfect. We all make mistakes. We're all perfectly imperfect, no matter who we are. And it is what it is. But of course, at the end of the day, you need to know how to evaluate and how to gauge when someone is crossing it too many times and when someone just passed it once or twice and is trying really hard not to do it again. And of course, like I said, if that's your brother or if that's simply a friend, the tolerance level is going to be way different depending on those two persons. Like I said, if that's my brother Luca, the guy who does podcasts with me, I'm going to tolerate way, way more from him than from simply one of my friends that I know for the past 3-4 years. The level of tolerance isn't going to be the same. Why? Because the level of importance isn't the same in my life. The level of love isn't the same in my life. The level that person brings to my life, the energy that person brings to my life, and the importance that he has in my life isn't the same when it comes to my brother and when it comes to one of my friends. So that's why there's going to be a different, how can I say this, tolerance level of tolerance between those two people. So like I said, guys, family is first, family is everything. But to a certain degree, if that family member or even if just your family members in general bring more cons towards you than pros, you have to cut him off or cut them off, because at the end of the day, you have your life to live, your dreams to accomplish, and you have to be at peace with your life and with yourself. If a certain family member isn't bringing peace in your life, you should cut him off. If a certain family member is only bringing chaos in your life, not bringing peace, you need to cut him off, him or her off. It is what it is. I know it can be hard, but it is what it is. Family should be there to bring peace, to bring motivation, to bring love, to bring inspiration, to bring motivation, to bring purpose in your life. That's what family should do. But if your family members or if your family brings hate towards you, brings all the opposite of everything that I just named, then you have to cut them off. Like I said, it's your life. You have to live your life to the fullest, and you have to protect yourself, your soul, your energy, and your peace from others, no matter who that other is, family member or a friend. You have to protect yourself. Overthinking. From time to time, I'm guilty of it. I overthink from time to time. I used to do it way more before when I was younger. Now I learned how to control my mind a bit better than before. So now I know when I start overthinking, I know how to overcome it and how to stop my brain from overthinking. I catch myself way faster than what I did before. And now I'm even more conscious about it, that sometimes I can start overthinking. And we all know, me, you, whenever you start overthinking, your brain plays tricks on you. And the scenarios that your brain plays, they always end up being like the most fucked up scenarios and the worst scenarios that exist on planet Earth. Overthinking never brought anything good. Deeply thinking about stuff, that's good. Overthinking, it's literally in the word. overthinking, not thinking. Thinking is good. Overthinking, thinking too much. Like the maxims from the Greek philosophers in ancient Greece used to say, nothing to excess. Even thinking can be something that's done in excess. Like someone who eats in excess, just as much as someone can eat in excess, someone can think in excess. And both bring negative aspects in your life. Overthinking kills more dreams than anything else. Overthinking can literally destroy your life and can literally destroy the lives of anyone. Overthinking can dethrone a king by himself. Overthinking is a silent killer. Overthinking is a killer. And talking about overthinking, when a human starts overthinking, it's because when he has a decision to make in his life, should I do this or should I do that? Then a certain human being can start to overthink. The best way to do it is think about it. Don't overthink about the decision you're going to take, the action you're going to go forward with. Choose an action, choose a decision. Either it's a good decision, either it's a bad decision. If it's a good decision, good for you, keep going. If it's a bad decision, don't dwell on it. Think about it. Okay, where did I fuck up? Don't overthink about it. Think about it. Where did I fuck up? Learn from it and keep moving forward. Move on. No matter who you are, no matter what decisions you have to take in your life, you're going to fuck up at some point. That's just fucking normal. That's called being a human being, and that's called being a human being living life. So whenever you have a decision to make, and then you have option A or option B as an action to go forward regarding that decision, if you overthink, you're going to fuck up. If you don't overthink, you're still going to choose an option. But the difference is someone who doesn't overthink, he's going to end up choosing a decision, going further with that action, and then he's either going to win from that decision or he's going to lose from that decision. And he's not actually going to lose. What's going to happen is if it's an L, if he lost, if it was a bad decision, he's going to learn from it, and then he's going to learn from it, and then next time he's going to know what to do. So he's going to learn from it, so he's going to gain something. So at the end of the day, if you make the decision to choose a certain action, you're a winner. Either that's the right action, or either you're going to learn something, you're going to become even smarter, even more knowledgeable, and then further on, you're going to be a more developed human being, a more competent human being. So the next time you face a certain circumstance similar to the one you faced before, you're going to know this time which appropriate action to take so you can level up as a human being. But if you overthink and then you end up simply not making a decision, not choosing an action because you're constantly overthinking, and instead of choosing an action, you're overthinking about which action should I take, at the end of the day, you're not moving forward because you're stuck. You're stuck at a certain point, like in a video game. If you play a video game and then you have between option A, kill the dragon, option B, not kill a dragon. If you're constantly thinking about it, you're not doing anything, so you're not moving forward in your path in the game. Same goes with life. So make a decision. Don't overthink it. You're either going to win from it or you're going to lose from it. And if you lose from it, you're still going to win. Why? Because you're going to learn from it. And when you learn, you grow. When you grow, you become more competent. So the next time you face something, you face a certain similar challenge to before, you're going to know what to do. You're going to know what to say. And then you're going to win again. So don't overthink. Think about it. Don't overthink. Choose an action. Choose an option. Go forward with it. You're going to win or you're either going to lose and then win later on because you're going to learn from it. You're going to become more knowledgeable, smarter, more competent, etc. And then you move on. This is something that Mike Tyson used to say now that he's smarter and more knowledgeable regarding the world and whatever. He said that whenever you are angry at a person, you lost against that person. Why? Whenever a person can choose the way that you're going to feel, choose the emotions you're going to feel, that person in a way owns you for that certain specific moment. Why? If a person can anger you, you lost against that person. Why? Because that person is going to anger you regarding something you cannot control that only he or she can control. So don't get angry at people. When you get angry at people, you lost against them. Lost, quote unquote. Be stoic. Don't let anyone's actions control how you're going to feel and what emotions you're going to feel. be stoic. Like I said, you cannot control other people's actions. So if you cannot control it, you shouldn't even think about it. You shouldn't even stress about it. You shouldn't stress about things you cannot control. You shouldn't stress about circumstances that are out of your control. Why? There's literally nothing you can do about it. If there's nothing I can do about it, hey, that's fucking life. Keep moving forward, be stoic, and hey, we've all been dealt a certain set of hands. Play life the best you can and try to get the most out of life. It is what it is. But we all have, as human beings, we all have a certain limit of energy to ourselves. If we waste our energy on stuff that we cannot control, thinking about stuff that we have no power over, we're just wasting our energy on something we cannot control, and then we're not moving forward as human beings, and we're not progressing with our lives. Why? Because we're constantly wasting all of our energy on things we cannot control. That's not how it's done. How it's done is be stoic, be calm. You know how they say a calm mind is a powerful mind. When you're calm, you're going to make better decisions. You're going to be more stoic. And when you're more stoic, you're going to accomplish your goals faster. And you're always going to make not always, but you're going to be in a better position to call shots for your life. You're going to be in a better position to make certain decisions in your life. And you're just going to be in a better place in life. You're going to have a calm spirit, peace of mind, and you're going to be way more competent and way more dangerous as a human being. And like I said, since you cannot control how other people will act, you shouldn't care about how other people will act. The only thing you can control is your reaction to other people's actions. That's the only thing you can control. And when you're stoic, when you're calm, your reaction will be way better and way more competent towards that certain person's action than if you were all emotional, all angry, wanting to hit him, wanting to insult him, all in your emotions. You're not going to be as competent. Your reaction is not going to be as good and as competent towards that certain person's action if you're stoic than if you're emotional. That's the difference. And if I go from personal story, recently I sell cars. Recently I was with a client. Let me make a long story short. So technically how it works is if you start with a client, no dealer, not dealer, how can I say this? No seller, no car salesman has the right to interrupt your negotiations with a client just so he can take the client. Long story short, that's how it's done. Recently, what happened, I was with a client. That client, let's call him Richard. Richard was supposed to come, he came to my dealership seeking a certain seller, right? That certain seller, let's call him Tommy. Tommy wasn't there. He was somewhere else. He was on the road. Maybe he went to get something to eat. Maybe he went to see his wife. Maybe he went to a fucking strip club. Who fucking knows? Tommy wasn't there. But Richard came in to see Tommy. Tommy wasn't there. So of course, we're not going to let the client go because his seller, it's not even a seller. It's just simply a guy he was texting with. He never saw the guy. He never met the guy. But the guy brought him in. So we as a dealership, we're not going to let him go lose a potential $15,000 profit or whatever it is just because the seller who should have been there wasn't there because for X, Y reason. So how it works, by law, on paper, if the seller that he's asking for isn't there, then another seller has the right to take him and to work him and then try to close him. And then once a seller is with a client, under no circumstances is the other seller who is supposed to be with him but isn't there, does he have the right to interrupt seller B? Let's call the seller B Andre, me. Under no circumstance does he have the right to interrupt me with my transaction while closing the client, which his name is Richard, right? What happened? The other seller, Tommy, like I said, let's call him Tommy, while I was negotiating with the client, while I was literally negotiating, we were at the end. So I introduced myself. We talked about the car. I showed him the Carfax. We went to do a test drive. We did everything. So now we're in my office. Final stages, right? Negotiations. And then we shake the hand. We found a deal. We signed the papers and he's gone. I closed them. So we were at the final stages. Tommy, seller number A, seller number one, comes in from his road trip, from his trip to McDonald's, to the strip club, wherever the fuck he was. He comes in, he sees me with Richard, his client. On paper, that's not his client anymore. It was, but since he wasn't there, it's not his client anymore. He got all emotional, all angry. He came into my office. I remained stoic. He came into my office. First of all, you don't do that. That's like a pure disrespect. He came into my office. He started talking with the client whilst I was already negotiating with the client. He introduced himself. The client never even knew what he looked like. Why? Because he never met him. It's not a be-back. It's just simply Facebook Marketplace. But Tommy, the seller, came into my office. He got all emotional, all angry. That's why he burst into my office. And then he took the client from me. I remained stoic. I was like, okay, what's the smart thing to do right now? I could yell at him. I could yell at Tommy. I could tell Tommy to go fuck himself. What the fuck are you doing, Tommy? Leave my fucking office. I could tell him that, right? I could tell him that. I could tell him I'm going to fucking bash your fucking head in. I'm not going to do that because that's illegal. That's a threat. So I'm never going to do that. But I could tell him, you know what, Tommy, could you please get the fuck out of my office? You're disrespecting me, my client, and my office. Get the fuck out of my office. I could have said that, and the owners, my bosses, wouldn't be angry because they would understand me. But if I would have said that to Tommy, the client would be like, you guys, I'm just leaving because I don't want to be here anymore, right? There's a high chance of that happening. So I'm not going to do that because at the end of the day, if I do that to Tommy, yes, I'm going to maybe relieve my emotions towards Tommy. I'm going to tell him to go fuck himself. I'm going to tell him he's a piece of shit or whatever. But we're both going to lose the client. The client's going to go, and at the end of the day, no one's going to have a commission. So what I did, I remained stoic. I remained calm. I just said simply nothing. He was doing his actions. Like I said, I cannot control his actions. I cannot control Tommy's actions. Why? Because I don't fucking control him. So if he wants to do that whilst he's not supposed to do that, I'm going to let him do. You know how Sun Tzu says, when your enemy is making a mistake, don't interrupt him. I didn't interrupt him. He fucked up. Whilst he was finishing with the client, I went to see not the boss, not my manager. I went to see the owner of the place. Because if I go to see my boss, my manager, what's Tommy gonna go and do? He's gonna go see the owner. So he's gonna go see the superior of the manager and of my boss. He's gonna go see the owner. So that's why I went immediately to go see the owner. I explained him the situation. He said, Andre, you're right. There's a paper. He's not allowed to interrupt you and your client. He wasn't there. It's not his client anymore. That's your client now. Even if Tommy closes him, even if Tommy gets the ability to close him, ends up closing the client, Andre, this is what the owner said. You're going to get the commission and you're going to get the pin. So whilst Tommy was there with the client thinking he's all smart and like, oh, he stole a client from me, he's going to get money, whatever. I just let him do what he had to do. I went to go see the owner. Tommy closed Richard, all happy, thinking he's getting the money. And then when the client left, and then when me and Tommy went into the office, the owner came into the used car manager's office. He said, you closed them, but since you did something illegal, the commission and the pin is going to Andre. So by remaining calm, by remaining stoic, I kept my pin and I kept my commission. Whilst he was all emotional, all in his emotions, he stole it from me, yeah? And the reason I didn't start fighting with him, like I said, is if I start fighting with Tommy, with the seller, imagine you're the client. This is your POV. You're sitting here. You're making a big decision in your life. You're going to spend like $25,000. It's a big decision. It's not like simply buying a bottle of water. You're buying a car. It's a big decision. You're already stressed out. You're already like confused, all in your emotions. You're thinking about it. You're already stressed out. And then you have two salesmen going at each other's throat because, oh, that's my client. No, that's my client. Of course, there's big chances of you not feeling comfortable and just wanting to leave and then end up buying somewhere else a car. So I made sure it doesn't happen. I could have told him, yo, Tommy, get the fuck out of my fucking office. You're a fucking piece of shit. I fucking hate you. What the fuck are you doing? What's wrong with you? You have no manners. I could have did that, but I didn't because that would be stupid. If I was to do that, probably Tommy would have replied, No, Andre, you're stupid. You're a piece of shit. That was my client, blah, 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 blah. Whilst we're going at each other's throat, the client there is simply looking at us. He's like, yo, guys, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm sorry, but I'm leaving. No one's making money. No one's getting a pin. I remained calm. I just got up, went to go see the owner. I let Tommy finish with Richard. Tommy being all excited in the beginning because he's thinking he's getting the commission. And in his mind, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm so smart. I'm such a badass. No, I'm smart. I went to go see the owner. I'm like, Tommy, this is what Tommy did. I had the paper. By law, it was written on paper. Yes, the owner said, yes, Andre, you are right. What Tommy did, seller B, what he did was wrong. He's not going to get the commission. Even if he closes him, you get the commission and you get the pin. I said, Mr. Owner, thank you very much. I'm going to let him finish. And once he finishes, he's going to be all happy until he hears the news that I'm getting the commission and I'm getting the pin. All of that was thanks to me being stoic and not all up in my emotions. And that was just, like I said, I'm not perfect. It happened to me many times, me being all of my emotions, insulting the guy and getting all angry. But there are some certain moments where I'm smart and I do certain smart actions. This action was really smart. And because of my action, because of my reaction to his action, because my reaction to his action was really stoic and really smart, I'm the winner in this situation, right? I worked less because he had to finish up with the client because he stole it from me. So he was the one who had to negotiate with him, go back and forth. So I worked less. I simply went to my manager's office. I sat down and I was on my phone waiting for him to close it. So I worked less. I got all the money and I got the pin. So you see how by being stoic and controlling your emotions, how far it can get you in life. That's just a little example. But take that, put that in a grander scale, in a bigger scale, and you're going to be really fucking successful, man. So that's why being stoic, which means controlling your emotions, is the biggest skill and the best skill a human being can possess in life. Always be your own best friend. No matter who you are, no matter what you fucking did, I don't give a fuck what you did. Even if you're the worst criminal, even if you're the worst killer to ever exist, always be your own best friend. I know it can be fucked up what I just said, because I just said, even if you're like a big killer or whatever, still love yourself the most. It is what it is. Even if I make mistakes, I don't care. I'm still going to love myself the most. Because if I'm not going to do it, who's going to do it? Right? I remain a human being. I'm always going to value my life over others, which is just simply normal. There's nothing egoistic there. There's nothing individualistic there. It's just how it is. It's normal. It is how it is. So no matter what I do, no matter how badly I fuck up, no matter what I fucking do, I'm always going to love myself the most, respect myself the most, and wish the best for me the most. No matter who I am, no matter what I do. And same goes for you guys. No matter how badly you fucked up in the past, no matter how bad of a person people call you, no matter how bad of a person people see you, always love yourself the most. Because if you're not going to do it, no one else is going to do it. And if you don't do it, what's the point of living a life where you don't love yourself? What's the point? You only have one life, from what we know. You only have one life. Live it to the fullest. Live your best life. Why? Because you only have one fucking life. So that's what I mean by you always have to be your own best friend. Because if you're not going to be your own best friend, who's going to be your best friend? And of course, like I said, always loving yourself doesn't mean, I'm not saying right now that you shouldn't look to become a better version of yourself. We should all always look to be a better version of ourselves. That's what life is. That's the point of life. The point of life is to be a better version of ourselves. That's the point of life. But you can still love yourself the most and then still want to become better, level up, and become better and better day in, day out. So both can go together. You don't have to hate yourself then to get the drive to go and level up and become a better person. You can still love yourself the most, but still realize, okay, I'm not perfect. There are some things I can change. There are some things I can be better at. What are those things? And then let me go work on those things if it is something you can change. If it's something you can change and you feel like you should be better at it or you should stop doing something, still love yourself the most and then go and fight for your life and try to be a better person day in, day out. Let's say someone is an alcoholic, like a big raging alcoholic. He should still love himself the most. Even if you're the biggest alcoholic, even if you're a fucking drug addict, you should still love yourself and your soul the most. First of all, God still loves you as much as he loves anyone else. God's love for you is unconditional. Unconditional. No matter what you do, no matter who you are, God will always love you unconditionally. Jesus will always be there for you and always love you unconditionally. So that's why, even though you're an alcoholic, you still have to love yourself the most, but still have the ability to realize, okay, me being an alcoholic, me drinking so much, I have to stop. I have to become a better person. I have to be a better version of myself. Why do I drink so much? Maybe it's childhood trauma. Maybe it's something that happened in your past. Whatever it is, you have to be open and to be able to self-criticize yourself, all with love. You can self-criticize yourself all by loving yourself the most. That's the most important. So be open to change. Know where you have to change. Like I said, no one's perfect. We all have certain aspects in our lives we can change and we can become better at. No one's perfect. So always love yourself the most, but be open to change and be able to criticize yourself when you do something wrong. But even when you criticize yourself when you do something wrong, don't hate yourself. Always love yourself the most, but be open to change yourself, to become a better person, and to level up day in, day out. And what helps you a lot with leveling up is being able to control your mind. Loving yourself to the fullest. It's way easier as a human being to hate yourself than to love yourself. I don't know why. It is how it is. It's way easier as human beings to criticize ourselves and to be very downgrading ourselves than to be like upgrading ourselves. It's way easier for ourselves to hate ourselves than to love ourselves. It is what it is. It's just human nature. But if you control your mind, because your mind is your most powerful tool. I don't care what human beings have created, the nuclear bomb, spaceship, cars, airplanes. I don't care how much we fucking innovate. I don't care what we create, ChatGPT, AI, you name it. The human mind will always remain the most powerful tool on planet Earth. Always. No matter what we create in the future, in the past, now, whatever, AI, spaceships, this, that, robots, flying cars, I don't care. Your mind will always remain your most powerful tool. And good news, your mind is something you can control, it's something you can master, and you can be the master of your mind. Because if you're not going to be the master of your mind is going to control you, and your mind is going to be the master of yourself. So you have to control your mind. It's really hard. Most people don't control their minds. That's why they're not stoic. That's why they're all emotional. But when you learn how to control your mind, when you become stoic, when you are the master of your mind and your mind is not the master of you, you can literally, and I literally mean accomplish whatever the fuck you want to accomplish. You can literally move mountains. You can literally influence whoever you want to influence. You can literally, let me put it in simple layman terms. When you learn to control your mind, you can literally accomplish whatever the fuck you wish to accomplish. Literally whatever you wish to accomplish when you learn how to control your mind. Your mind is your most powerful tool on planet Earth. And it's something, good news, it's something you can control. But to control it, to control your mind is also the hardest thing on planet Earth. That's why we have so many suicides, because people who kill themselves, they didn't learn how to master their mind. They didn't learn how to control their mind. That's why controlling your mind is the hardest thing on planet Earth. And since it's the hardest thing to do on planet Earth, that's why not so many people master the art of controlling your mind. All the biggest individuals we see, all the most accomplished individuals we see, Michael Jordan, Cristiano Ronaldo, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, whoever, all these biggest individuals who accomplished the most, Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, whoever, Napoleon Bonaparte, what they did best was control their mind. That's something they mastered. That's why they accomplished so much. And that's why they accomplished all of their dreams, because they learned how to control their mind. When you learn how to control your mind, the world is literally yours. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be the strongest. You don't have to be the most competent. You just have to be the one who controls your mind the best. If that's your case, you're going to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. So learn how to control your mind, because your mind is powerful beyond measure, which means if you control something that is powerful beyond measure, that makes you powerful beyond measure. And as human beings, we cannot control others. We cannot control the weather. We cannot control whatever. The only thing we do have control over, and that we have the possibility to have control over, is our mind. But like I said, good news, your mind is the most powerful tool on planet fucking Earth. And like I said, no matter how badly you fuck up in life, who gives a fuck, man? No matter how badly you fuck up, who gives a fuck? Keep moving forward, learn from it, don't dwell on it. What's the point of dwelling on it? Is that going to make the situation better? Is that going to make you unfuck what you fucked up? No, it's not going to make you unfuck up what you fucked up. It's not going to do it. So what's the point to dwell on it? No matter how badly you fuck up, keep moving forward, man. Keep trying. Try to learn something from it. If there's something to learn from it, learn from it. So you didn't fuck up. You just learned something new that you didn't already know. So if you fuck up, keep moving forward, learn from it. And then next time that you do face adversity, that you do face a certain similar circumstance, you're going to know how to deal with it better, because you're a smarter individual. You're going to be a more competent individual. And then you're going to face that situation, that circumstance, with more tools in your possession. So that's why I say, whenever you fuck up, keep moving forward. And literally, how badly can you fuck up? And even if you feel like it's the end of the world, believe me, it's not. It's not the end of the world. No matter what you did, no matter how badly you fuck up, the sun is still going to rise in the morning. People are still going to get up in the morning, go on with their lives, and literally no one's going to give a fuck. Keep moving forward, learn from it, and every single day, step by step, try to become a better version of yourself, and try to level up every single day and become the best version of yourself. So guys, when I watched the movie King Arthur, directed by Guy Ritchie with Charlie Hunnam, who was King Arthur, a good movie, maybe not fantastic movie, but it was a good movie, nice movie. And once in that movie, King Arthur, Charlie Hunnam, when he became the King of England, I guess we can say, Sussex, England, I'm not sure. Let's say England. When he became the King of England, he always had the same slogan: why have enemies when you can have friends? And I agree. Sometimes with life, with certain situations, you're going to make enemies. That's just the point. That's just the point of life. That's just how life is. And you know how they always say, if you don't have enemies in your life, if you don't have people who hate you, you're not living life correctly. If you don't have people who hate you, you're not doing well in life, and you're not living life correctly. So it's normal to have haters. It's normal to have enemies. It's normal to have people who don't like you and who don't like your face. That's just fucking normal. That's life. And if you don't have enemies, if you don't have haters, that means you're not doing well in life. That's a fact. So if you're someone who says, "Oh, everyone loves me, no one hates me," that's actually not a flex. Why? Because it means you're not doing well in life. Because if you're doing well in life, and if you're living life on your own terms, and you're getting better and better, you're going to have haters, you're going to have enemies, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's always better to have more friends than enemies. And why have enemies when you can have friends? Don't have unnecessary enemies if you don't have to, right? Don't burn bridges you don't need to burn. And having good associations, good networking, good networks with other people, it can help you a lot with life. Like it or not, we are social creatures. And if you want to accomplish your dreams, of course, it's all up to you. But to a certain extent, it can speed up the process if you have good connections, if you have good bridges, if you have good relationships with people who can help you in on the road for you to accomplish your dreams. So of course, but sometimes just with life, just with circumstances, you're going to have to burn bridges. You're going to have enemies. You're going to have people who hate on you. That's life. But at the end of the day, just like in the movie, why have enemies when you can have friends? If that certain person can be your friend, if that certain person can be an associate, and if that certain person can help you a lot in your life and on the road to accomplish your dreams, then why not keep him as a friend? You don't know when you're going to need him. You don't know when he's going to help you. So it's always better to have friends instead of having enemies. So why have enemies when you can have friends? And like I said, it comes from the movie, a really good movie. And I agree, man. It's a really, really beautiful quote from that movie. This is something that I used to see a lot. And it's like a law of attraction, which comes originally from Carl Jung, which Carl Jung is like one of the biggest thinkers, one of the biggest psychoanalysts, one of the biggest psychologists, one of the biggest social scientists in general to ever exist. Carl Jung, he's a Swiss native, and he said, do your work correctly and the correct associates will come in search of you. What this means is focus on you and on doing your work correctly. Like, let's say me with a podcast. If I concentrate on just simply doing my work correctly, day in, day out, getting better and better, the right associates will come in search of me. This is just a law of attraction, I guess we can call. When you do something right, the right people are going to come in search of you. So just focus on doing your work correctly. The rest, leave it up to God. That's also another reason why me personally, I'm so religious, is like I'm really ambitious. So if I have big dreams, of course, I'm going to do everything in my power to accomplish my dreams. But then there's certain circumstances that I don't know what's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? If it's ever going to work out, if I'm ever going to accomplish my dreams, who knows? But at the end of the day, I shouldn't spend my energy thinking about what's going to happen in the future. That's only going to create anxiety, right? So the only thing I should focus on is, okay, listen, today, the present day, let me do the most I can to accomplish my dreams. Let me go step by step, and I leave the rest to God. As long as I know that I did everything in my power, and literally everything in my power, not half-ass it and then convince myself by lying to myself, oh, I did everything in my power. No, literally and honestly do everything in my power to accomplish my dreams, and I leave the rest up to God. That's how I live life, and that's how I feel like it should be done. Because if you don't have a certain belief in a higher power or in the universe or in God, in Jesus, in Allah, in Buddha, whatever, you're going to have a lot of anxiety in your life. I understand that anxiety can be good. To a certain degree, there's a certain level of anxiety that can be good in your life. It can push you to do certain things. It can push you to accomplish goals. But there is a certain level of good anxiety, and many people surpass that level, and it's just that their anxiety brings more negativity than positivity inside their lives. So that's why having a lot of anxiety isn't good. And when you constantly think about the future, you constantly think about what's going to happen with your life. Are my dreams ever going to get realized? Like, what more can I do? Blah, blah, blah. If you're constantly thinking about the future, you're going to have a lot of anxiety. So that's why, in my opinion, every single day when you wake up, look to have the best day you can, the most fruitful day you can, and leave the rest up to God. That's how I see life. If you don't believe in God, leave the rest up to the universe, to whatever you believe in. Just leave it up to a higher power. Like I said, emotional control is the most important skill to master in life. When you're able to control your emotions, and this isn't simply coming from me. This is coming from, I studied a lot of famous, successful people who accomplished a lot in their life, and they didn't say that it's because they're smart. They didn't say it's because they're talented. They said that it's because, first of all, they were really disciplined. And we can also argue that discipline comes with emotional control. It does actually a lot. Someone who isn't disciplined, high chances are that he doesn't control his emotions. He doesn't possess emotional control. But they all said that the most important aspect to have is, of course, discipline, hard work, and emotional control. Because on your path to your dreams, to accomplishing your goals, you're going to face a lot of failure, a lot of setbacks, and a lot of adversity. But when you control your emotions, you're gonna deal with those adversities easier, and you're gonna move past them way easier than someone who's really emotional, right? So that's why it's important to possess emotional control to accomplish your dreams, to have a peaceful life, for whatever. It's really, really, really important. Guys, so recently I did a podcast with Tommy Morrison. Shout out Tommy Morrison. He's a professional MMA fighter. And during the podcast, we talked about everything, right? His career, his future ambitions, philosophy, his workout plan, his regimen, his nutrition. And then I asked him one question that I asked many of my guests that I have on my podcast, because first of all, it's because it's out of curiosity, and me being a social scientist, like it or not, I studied in sociology. I got a degree in sociology. So like it or not, I'm going to ask him questions regarding philosophy, sociology, whatever. And all my guests, I always ask them, are you religious? I don't ask them if they're Christian or Muslim or Buddhist or Jew, whatever. I ask them, are you religious? Some of them say yes, some of them say no. But from what I realized, from my personal experience, talking with many guests, talking with people outside my podcast, I feel like more and more people are becoming religious, especially younger people. I feel like before everyone was religious, everyone was either Christian, Muslim, something, everyone was religious. And then with modern times, religion died a lot in the Western world. I'm speaking for the Western world now. In modern times, religion died out a lot. Way less people were religious, way less people were Christian, and it had to do with modernity. It's just what happened with modern times. But I feel like now there's like this surge of people from the Western world becoming more and more religious and getting more into and getting more curious about religion, about Christianity, about God and whatever. So like when I did the podcast with Tommy Morrison, I asked him the question, are you religious? And what he replied with, of course, on paper, I'm Quebecois. So on paper, I'm Catholic, right? But he didn't grow up religious. His dad didn't talk about Christianity. His dad didn't talk about religion or whatever. So he didn't grow up Christian. He wasn't a practicing Christian. But he said that recently he started reading the Bible more. And he said he's not yet a full-on Christian, but he's looking into it. He's getting more curious and he's slowly becoming more Christian. That's what he told me. Quote, word for word, bar for bar. That's what he told me. That he's becoming more and more Christian. And when he told me that answer, I felt like that's what I was like, yo, literally in the Western world, with modernity, with people being less and less religious, I feel like younger people, especially Gen Z, are becoming more and more religious. Maybe it has to do with like social media. There's a lot of there's a lot of materialism going on, that there's like a swing of the pendulum back, and we are becoming more and more looking to enrich our soul than to enrich our pockets, our bank accounts, and we're getting more and more less materialistic and more about soul, about dignity and having good things for your soul. So maybe that's where it's coming from. Maybe we went too much into materialism, social media, and then everyone just being consumers, that we feel like over-consuming didn't bring us peace of mind, didn't bring us peace of soul, and it didn't bring us any happiness, any joy in our life. So of course, as human beings, we're always in search of joy, of peace, of being happy. It's normal. Like in the Constitution, the American Constitution, they wrote that all human beings have the right to the pursuit of happiness, because they know that as human beings, inside of us, we're all on the pursuit of happiness. That's why we try to accomplish our dreams. That's why we try to do this and that and whatever, because we're all in search of pursuit of happiness. We're all in search of happiness. And I think that now with modernism, we realize that material goods won't bring us joy and won't bring us happiness. What will actually bring us joy and happiness is peace of mind, is being healthy, is having good people around you, it's having a healthy family, having healthy family members, having healthy relationships with your friends, with your family members, etc. Having peace of mind, being happy. And what religion does is it brings you peace of mind. That's what religion, in my opinion, does the most. It brings you peace of mind. So that's why I feel like Gen Z and just the newer generations are becoming more and more religious, and they're looking more and more into Christianity or just into religion in general. I feel like there's been a swing of the pendulum back. I said this many times. Okay, guys, be assertive, meaning don't be a bully, but also don't be bullied. Don't allow people to bully you, but also don't bully other people. Be assertive. Don't let people walk all over you. For people who let people walk all over them, you're not being nice. You're not helping the other person, and you're not helping yourself. So first of all, you're not being nice and you're not helping anyone. So whenever you let someone walk all over you, you're not being nice and you're not helping anyone. So don't allow that. And like I said, you always have to love yourself the most and always care for yourself the most and always put yourself first. Because if you're not going to do it, who's going to do it? Of course, if you have kids, that's a different story. But always put yourself first. Don't allow other people to walk all over you, but at the same time, don't walk all over people. Don't bully other people. You know how they say that only hurt people can hurt people? That's true. If you're someone who's constantly looking to hurt other people, bring down other people, bring negative energy into other people's lives, it's because deep down you're hurting and you have negativity inside of you. So be assertive. Don't allow other people to walk all over you, but don't be a bully towards other people. In my opinion, that's the best way to live life. And talking about not being bullied, being assertive and not bullying others, the best revenge, when someone does you dirty, when someone whatever, and you know how they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Why? If you fool me once, it's my goal. It's my, how can I say this? It's in my hands to learn from it and to become smarter. Just like the Bible verse in the Bible, the verse Matthew 10:16. Behold, I send you as a sheep amongst wolves. Therefore, be innocent as a dove, but be cunning as a snake. What that means is when someone does you dirty once, shame on him, but learn from it. Don't allow him to fool you twice, because if he fools you again, if he fools you twice, then it's shame on you. Why? Because you know that he did it once and you should have learned from it. So that's why that's important. But the best revenge, so when someone fools you, when someone steals from you, when someone lies to you, when someone breaks a promise to you, the best revenge is success. The best revenge is moving on. The best revenge is cutting him off, learning from it, and not allowing him to fool you again. That's the best revenge. But if you're like, yo, fuck all that Dalai Lama shit, fuck all that shit, I literally want revenge. You know how they say, revenge is a dish best served cold. That's true. But like I say, best revenge is moving on, cutting him off, not giving him any more power in your life, and just moving on and then accomplishing your goals and getting more and more successful. And of course, learning from that person so you don't get fooled again from that person or from another person in the same circumstance. But if you do want revenge, if you're like, yo, I don't give a fuck about being a better person, I just want to inflict pain upon him, from personal experience, from watching my surroundings, life, family members, friends, whatever, personal experience, revenge is a dish best served cold. And the only way you can serve revenge on a cold dish is by being stoic and is by being able to control your emotions. It is what it is. But like I say, guys, best revenge is moving on and succeeding and accomplishing your goals. Okay, let's do some ancient Greek philosophy quotes, and then we'll finish the episode with some Bible verses. Okay, so the first quote is from Zeno of Elea, and he said, "Man conquers the world by conquering himself." The only way you can conquer yourself is by controlling your mind. And the only way you can control your mind is by controlling your emotions and by being stoic. This is one of my favorite quotes, one of my favorite historical quotes of all time. As men, in general, men are really ambitious. We all want to accomplish a lot and we all want to conquer, right? But the only thing we can conquer is ourselves. And if we want to conquer the world, we cannot literally conquer the world. It's impossible. The only way we can conquer the world is by conquering ourselves. Next quote is from Seneca. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. That's where overthinking kicks in, like I said in the beginning of the episode. The reason we suffer more in imagination than in reality is because certain things, when we overthink, like I said, we don't think, we overthink. So we imagine certain scenarios and certain circumstances that are certain scenarios that are never going to happen. But since we overthink, we start imagining things that are never going to happen. And then we suffer from those thoughts. We suffer from thoughts because we think about certain circumstances, certain actions, certain scenarios that in reality is never going to happen. But we suffered and we lost energy and we lost peace of mind overthinking about scenarios that are never going to happen. So that's why we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Next quote is from Aristotle. And he said, happiness depends upon ourselves. That's true. If you want to be happy, no exterior event, no exterior material can bring you happiness. The only way we can bring happiness and joy upon our lives is by having peace of mind, by being stoic, and by conquering ourselves. That's why happiness depends upon ourselves. No one's going to give you happiness. No one's going to bring you happiness. No event in life is going to bring you happiness. No person can bring you happiness. Only you can bring happiness to yourself. That's why when people get into a relationship just so that they feel happy and loved by the other person, that's why it never works. You have to be first happy and content with yourself, be in peace with yourself, and then you can go and have a successful relationship with another person. That's the only way how. Next quote is from Marcus Aurelius, and he said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. That's why control your thoughts and you will control your mind. Your thoughts are really fucking powerful. I know that people think that our thoughts aren't powerful because it's not something that we can touch. It's not something that we can feel. But our thoughts is what dictates our lives, is what controls our lives, and is what controls our actions, our thoughts. So the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you have good thoughts, your soul is going to be in a good mood. When your soul is in a good mood, you're going to have peace of mind. When you have peace of mind, you have power. When you have power, you control your mind. When you control your mind, you conquer yourself. When you conquer yourself, you conquer the world. Next quote is from Heraclitus. And he said, character is destiny. Not intelligence, not money, not talent, not whatever. Character. Controlling your mind, controlling your emotions builds character. Character is destiny. If you have character, you're gonna conquer whatever you want to conquer. You're gonna accomplish all of your dreams. You're gonna accomplish whatever you wish to accomplish. Next quote is from Socrates. He said, most people would rather give up than think. People hate thinking. They hate going deep into their thoughts and analyzing what's going on, what's going wrong in their life. That's why many people they drink to feel good. They take drugs to feel good. They smoke to feel good. It's because they don't want to be left alone with their thoughts. But you have to be able to be left alone with your thoughts without overthinking, but be able to think rationally about your life, where you can upgrade and where you can level up. Next quote is from Plato. He said, he who is not a good servant will not be a good master. What this means is, there's a story of this guy in Texas who was a multi-millionaire. Like, you couldn't be richer than him. And his kids, when he had kids, he made his kids work the hardest jobs in his company. He could have easily put his son to be immediately CEO of his company, right? But he didn't. He put him as mailman and then he put him. So he made him climb the ranks from the lowest position to the highest position. Why? Because that's where he's gonna learn the most. And then when he becomes the CEO, when he becomes the master, he's gonna be at his full potential, and he's gonna be the best master that he can be. Why? Because he learned how to be a good servant, starting off with the lowest positions in his dad's company. So if his dad makes him acquire skills, makes him become a more competent person, and then makes him earn his position throughout meritocracy, when he makes him earn his position as the new CEO of his company, he's going to be way more competent, have a way happier life, and he's going to run that company way better than if he would have just immediately put him CEO of the company. So that's what Plato means. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. That's why if you are someone who's really rich and then you have kids, you have to make them suffer. You have to make them work a lot so that they acquire skills. The only way you can acquire skills as a human being is through suffering, is through hard work, and is through fucking going through the fan, going through shit that is really fucking hard in your life. That's the only way you can level up. When everything is going good in your life, when everything is going well, you're not leveling up. When you're faced with adversity, when you're faced with challenges, that's the only way you can level up. Just like in video games, the only way your character can level up in a video game is if you face him, if he faces challenges and then he faces those challenges and he overcomes those challenges. That's the only way your character, your figure in the video game can level up. Same goes in life. Okay, so guys, let's finish off with some Bible verses. So there's this video I saw, I think on Twitter and it's regarding Jesus Christ. And I had to tell you guys, I had to read you guys what was written. So the greatest man in history, Jesus. He had no servants, yet they called him master. Had no education, yet they called him teacher. Had no medicines, yet they called him healer. He had no army, yet kings feared him. He won no military battles, yet he conquered the world with love, because love conquers all. He did not live in a castle, yet they called him Lord. He ruled no nations, yet they called him king. He committed no crime, yet they crucified him. He was buried in a tomb, yet he lives today. His kingdom is not of this world, yet it lies within the hearts of those who believe. He offers no material wealth, yet we consider him the treasure of our lives. He promises no earthly power, yet in his name the powerless have found strength. Taught he left no written words, his message has filled countless pages. In his weakness we find our strength, in his suffering our salvation. So I saw that on Twitter regarding Jesus Christ, and I just found it so beautiful. I feel like it's because when you have Jesus in your life, when you believe in a higher power, it gives you strength, it gives you discipline, and it gives you courage. Whenever you're afraid to do something, if you truly believe in your heart that no matter what you do, no matter what you face, God and Jesus will always be by your side, you're going to have way more courage to face adversity and to face challenges. So now let's do 6 Bible verses to end the episode with beautiful Bible verses. Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. We are social creatures. We need one another to challenge ourselves and to help us grow. We grow by learning from others and by challenging ourselves with others. Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and uphold you. Like I said, God and Jesus are always by your side, and they're always going to be by your side no matter who you are, no matter what you did, no matter how badly you fucked up, and no matter what you're facing. God and Jesus are always going to be by your side. Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guard your soul. Your soul is the most important tool in planet Earth. Galatians 6:7. A man reaps what he sows. You know how they say a gardener collects what he gardens? Same goes for this. A man reaps what he sows. What you do If you put in the work, you're going to collect the fruits of your labor. If you don't put in labor, there's going to be no fruits to collect from your labor. So a man collects the fruits of his labor. Joshua 1:9. And also, if I get back to this, in the Bible, with God wants us to be hardworking. God wants us to face our fears, and He wants us to work hard and to be relentless. It's built inside of us as human beings to constantly be working. It's when we feel the best. And if you know someone who does nothing with his life, doesn't go to the gym, doesn't have a job, doesn't go to school, just simply lays in bed, watches TV, that's a really depressive person. That's why gluttony and that's why laziness are two of the 7 deadly sins that exist. Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Like I said, don't be afraid to be strong and courageous because God will always be by your side. And the last one, Matthew 6:21. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And the only way you can find your treasure is by listening to your soul, not your ego. And the only way that you can listen to your soul is by calming your mind. When you calm your mind, you calm your ego, and then you let your soul speak to you, and then you listen to your soul and you follow. You have to follow your soul and not your ego. Because when you follow your ego, you're going to fuck up. But when you follow your soul, that is where you're going to find your treasure. So that was it, guys, for this episode. See you next episode. Peace out.